make their way to Temple Beth Am today. I'm going to beat all records and actually do a 30-second introduction. And so without further ado, Rob Eshman.
Wow. Thank you, Susan. What a nice turnout. I guess this means that the economy is really bad. Or that what Peter wrote is really important and worth leaving what we usually do on a Monday afternoon and coming to talk about it. So I want to thank Rabbi Leder, I want to thank Rabbi Kligfeld, and I want to thank Temple Beth Am for hosting us. I really want to thank Red Rodriguez and the people at Zocalo for making Peter available to us, and the staff of Tribe Media, Mike Silverstein and Rachel Field, for putting this together. The video that Jay Firestone is doing is going to be on our website later, so you could direct your friends to see it. Finally, I really want to thank all of you for coming and for Peter Beinart for being here. The format is really simple. Peter's going to start our discussion, 15 or 20 minutes talk, and then we will be able to ask him questions and get a very open but respectful dialogue going. This is an invited group of Jewish leadership, and I don't feel the need to stand in as a filter, and I don't feel the need to lecture about the importance of civility, even though I kind of just did. Afterwards, there are really good cookies from Got Kosher. And Peter, thank you. Thank you, Donna. And Peter will sign his book. By way of a quick introduction, Peter Beinart is the author of The Icarus Syndrome, A History of American Hubris from HarperCollins. He is a senior fellow at the Council of Foreign Relations, the senior political writer at the blog The Daily Beast, senior fellow at the New America Foundation. He served as the editor of The New Republic from 1999 to 2006, and today he contributes to Time, the New York Times, and the New York Review of Books, where he published an essay, The Failure of the American Jewish Establishment, which is what he's going to talk to us about today. Peter?
I have to say, Rob, it was, as a Bostonian, it was very cruel of you to invite me here at LA on the day of the Lakers victory parade. You know, we in the American Jewish community share many things, but we do not share basketball loyalties. I also want to say, just also by way of introduction, if the article I wrote or the comments I'm going to make stirred any thoughts of anger or disagreement, be sure you will not disagree nearly as fervently as some people who share my last name. In fact, my mother at one point, a couple weeks ago, said, "You know, you're very lucky your grandmother doesn't know how to blog." So, my hypothesis is that liberal Zionism, by which I mean a Zionism that loves Israel not just because it's a Jewish state, but because it's a liberal democratic Jewish state, is dying in the United States. And I would start with a statistic. The 2006 American Jewish Committee survey of American Jews between the ages of 18 and 40 were asked, do you feel very close to the state of Israel? Amongst Orthodox Jews, 18 to 40, the figure was 79%. Amongst non-Orthodox Jews, 18 to 40, the figure was 16%. So at least as it regards Israel, in the younger generation, essentially we are two different American Jewish communities. And I want to talk about those two different communities, and I think the struggles that they both face in trying to preserve a liberal Zionism. Within the Orthodox community, Zionism is alive and well. It's vibrant. It's being passed on to the younger generation. The Israel Day Parade in New York City today is now largely a phenomenon of kids at day school. The challenge, it seems to me, that the Zionism that is being bred in much of the Orthodox world is a Zionism of love and attachment to the land, without sufficient love and attachment to the dignity and rights of all the people on the land, Jewish and non-Jewish. When I asked Chaim Waxman, himself a graduate of Yeshiva University, professor emeritus at Rutgers, now having made Aliyah the foremost, one of the 2 or 3 foremost scholars of Orthodox Jewry in the United States, about surveys that looked into Arab attitudes, racist Arab attitudes amongst Orthodox American Jews. His answer to me over the phone was, I haven't asked the question because I'm afraid of what I would find. At the 2002, I think we saw a specimen of some of what is happening at the 2002 rally in Washington on the March on the Mall, a rally that was about 70% Orthodox according to some estimates, when Paul Wolfowitz said that we need to be respectful of Palestinian suffering as well. He was booed. And to my mind, more of a shanda, Malcolm Hoenlein, the head of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, responded to that, not by looking inward and saying there is a problem here, but in fact by reprimanding Wolfowitz for having uttered that line at all. It seems to me that given the rapid demographic transition in the American Jewish community, in which Orthodox Jews almost certainly will be a larger and larger share of the American Jewish community, that a certain species of Zionism will be alive and well. The struggle is to make sure that species of Zionism is one that loves Israel because it's a liberal democracy, that cherishes what Israel has achieved as a liberal democracy and is willing to struggle to sustain it. It seems to me, you know, when Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel learned of the massacre at Deir Yassin in 1948. One of the foremost American masters in bringing Eastern European Hasidic spirituality to the United States, he canceled his classes at the Jewish Theological Seminary and went off to himself to grieve. It seems to me that is a spirit within Orthodox Judaism that is being lost. When Heschel walked into a room once of his students and found that they were involved in a long debate about the kashrut, the laws of kashrut as it relates to gelatin, he turned to his students and said, yes, it's important to know whether gelatin is kosher. Is the atomic bomb kosher? It seems to me that is the spirit that needs to be revived within Orthodox Jewry in the United States. Is what's happening in Sheikh Jarrah, where Palestinians who lived in their homes for 50 years were forcibly evicted and are now living out on the street, is that kosher? It's not that whether gelatin is kosher does not matter. It does matter. We ourselves go to an Orthodox shul. I understand that matters. But there are other kashrut issues, it seems to me, as well. Outside of the Orthodox Jewish community, it seems to me that liberal democratic values in many ways have never been stronger. This is one of the great achievements of the American Jewish community. By every measure, American Jews in general are more concerned about the rights of the disenfranchised and about historically oppressed groups than are other white Americans. And I think in this younger generation, it's even stronger because now you have a younger generation of American Jews who, much more likely than their parents or grandparents, actually have Arab and Muslim friends, have relationships across these divides. And yet, it seems to me the problem is we have not nurtured a space for these more secular, younger, liberal Jews to reconcile their liberalism with their Zionism. A Jewish infrastructure which says that to be a Zionist is not to be publicly critical of Israel, even when Israel does things that you believe violate your own values and are harmful to its own security. And a Zionism that allows no public expression of concern for Israel's policies in the West Bank, it seems to me is a message that actually turns many younger, particularly secular American Jews away from Zionism altogether. For many older, and I think what has happened to some degree in the organized American Jewish world is that a story is being told about Israel that has meaning to people of a certain generation, people who came of age in the 1960s and 70s in particular, but who came of age and came to an identification with Israel before Gush Emunim, before the settler movement became such a force in Israeli life, when ultra-Orthodox Jews were a much smaller percentage of the population, before the Russian immigration which had produced Avigdor Lieberman. And it is that